Hi, I'm Stephen,
And I'm Phoebe.
and this is our project, Brynglas Restoration.
We bought Brynglas back in May 2024 and have been through the planning process for listed building consent to rebuild the exterior using traditional methods. We are still dealing with the ecology side of things, so work isn't allowed to start yet, but let's give you a tour of the house and explain our vision for the place.
So this is the youngest part of the house. So this is a late Georgian, early Gothic revival manor house that was built back in the late 1820s, we believe. It's been constantly occupied up until the late 1970s, early 1980s, where it became uninhabited or only lived in part-time by previous owners, which has obviously led to the derelict state that we see today. The property itself was grade listed in 1953, but there's been no real protections or any serious efforts to maintain the property until now. So here's a quick angle from the side of the house, and you can see that the front elevation on the east side is collapsed, and it's taken the outer layer of the rubble stone wall with it. So you can actually see the construction method that was used, which is an external stone with a small brick or small stone infill with lime mortar, and it's interlaced with timbers on the internal leaf. And the reason why they did that was to attach the lap and lath for the interior of the house, and that allowed them to plaster the inside. So we're now at the back of the new part of the house, new, quote unquote. This is stone built up to the first floor. So the entire back of the east room here doesn't have a window in it, and it's entirely built of stone. But above that, it was timber built, the entire back wall, and it was mansarded with slate. This has, as you can see, degraded over time and unfortunately has now collapsed in. There is some scaffolding that was put up maybe 15-20 years ago, but obviously the efforts that it was designed for were never implemented or carried out. So unfortunately the property has continued to degrade into the state you see today. So at the rear of the property now, that I was just showing you before, what you're looking at here is the hallway. So there is the front door. There was a staircase here, and we actually have photographs from the 1980s, 1990s, and then obviously when we moved in 2024. And you can see the decline and how rapidly that decline is continued. So you wouldn't normally be able to see this, but this is all open at the moment. And one of the biggest challenges we have on this project, it might look like the wall at the front, but the biggest challenge is because there's a basement in there, and that's 2.5-3 meters deep, is getting all of the stuff that's in there out safely without causing any damage. So that's a project in itself, just getting the material out, but we'll come to that in time. So we're now at the oldest part of the property, and this part here was a hall, and it's from the 17th century. You can see that there's obviously large timbers with the timbers coming out and the joist holes. So and behind this as well is a large fireplace. And we suspect that the building travelled in this direction but was removed for whatever reason, we don't know, and then obviously the new front built. But this is from the 17th century. It's built using red brick, which for this area was incredibly unusual unless you had a lot of money to import bricks from elsewhere. to build it with. So it was timber framed with brick infill, and it was a rather long haul from what we can gather. But this is the oldest part of the building. So we're now at the very back of the property now, and this section, this extension here, is actually as recently built as the front, so roughly late 1820s, we believe. And this was, from what we understand, servants' quarters upstairs and the kitchen at the back. So there's, obviously this is degraded as well. There's a staircase that goes up the side for an external entrance, and the staircase for that is also collapsed and degraded. So this is the servants' quarters entrance that is external to the property, and there's a staircase. That staircase is now collapsed, and you can see that you can see into the kitchen. But I'll quickly prop the camera up and you can get an idea up there. So you can see there's a pair of windows. I don't mind the wellies and whatever rot. There's bits of timber. So there you are. Yeah, it looks like there's, well, most of this timber work in there is going to require replacing, or some serious work. So that's that. So this is the kitchen, and the ceiling has collapsed at the back there, and it's caused some of the stone from the wall to come in as well. And here's the main ingle nook. There is a stove in there, but we can't say when that was last possibly used. So we're at the back of the kitchen here. I don't know if you can see it on screen, but the stone wall is bulging out where the floor has collapsed because the internal leaf of the stone has come away. So this is obviously a big structural issue, which we're going to have to shore up and possibly rebuild. This is a prime example of the 17th century part of the property, and you can see it's large timber frame with brick infill, which again, from what we understand, is not a vernacular of its time. And it's something that, you know, you would have had to be quite wealthy to get this many bricks brought out to this location and used for construction. Some of the timber is rotted, some at the bottom there, and other parts is actually perfectly fine. So we'll only be splicing in parts of timber that's rotted away. Here we are looking through the west wall, well, a window in the west wall, sorry. So this is the pantry here, and through that door where that window is the parlour. To your front here, and you can see where let's bring you in. The walls collapsed there, but you can see the panelling, or at least the back of the panelling for the room on the west side of the house. So we do have some footage of inside there. What we're looking at here is the newer construction. What they've done is built it in stone entirely, but not just the new extension. It goes all the way to the back of the 17th century hall that was here originally. So it's an entire veneer. It looks really impressive. But what we've noticed is you can see a line down the stone here, and there's a gutter entryway, and where the new extension terminates, it looks it's built up, but the roof line actually comes back, so it comes into a valley just up here, and we suspect this is where the majority of the issues have come from, where the valley's getting filled with water. So our plans for the house are to restore it to its former glory before it became derelict. Because Grade 2 listed, we have to be sympathetic to the building, but our intentions is to build it using traditional methods. So we're going to use the stone rubble fill walls. We're going to use normal or traditional oak beams to replace the oak that's gone. And we're going to plaster it in the most traditional way possible as well. So it will be rebuilt pretty much as it should be, in the way that it was meant to be built, if that makes sense. So the only thing that's modern that's going into the house will be electrical systems and heating, because the house does have some electrical, but it has pretty much little to nothing in the way of any heating or plumbing.
No, just fireplaces.
Just fireplaces. And we'll get on to that, because that's a part of our heating plan for the future, and we'll explain the 3 things that will make up how we'll keep the house warm. But that's not for today. So yeah, we're just going to get the house built back to what its former glory was. We'll still use the same slates that are on the roof today, or if they're not on the roof, on the floor, as much as we can, at least anyway. All the stone that is currently falling will be put back. We'll be using traditional lime mortar. We'll be using timber for the floors and for the structure, and where we can, it'll be traditional lime mortar for the walls as well. So that's our plan in terms of what we're going to do with the house.
And then do small holding as well, bring that back.
Yes. So we have a few acres here, and one of the reasons why we moved out to the country was to be a little bit more self-sufficient, and also to kind of get back to some of our roots, our family's roots in terms of farming. I mean, obviously we're effectively a hobby farm, but we have sheep as it is. We'll be getting chickens and some other animals, and we'll likely be doing a level of market gardening. So if that's something that interests you, it's another reason to keep watching.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to follow our story, please like and subscribe. Next week's video, we'll be looking at site clearance before the sale went through and moving our caravan onto site.